It's particularly interesting from my perspective to have this dialogue between people from an Australian perspective and a US perspective, because there's so many commonalities in the energy area. There's some differences, but there's some important commonalities. First, we're both nations are entering into a transition from its traditional forms of energy into some more modern, cleaner forms of energy. Those transitions, fundamental transitions for anything as deep and important and pervasive as energy, never are smooth, and they're not completely smooth in either of the countries here. As Australia figures out how to move from its dependence upon coal of various different types, including even brown coal, as well as some of the more conventional coal used around the world, to cleaner forms of energy, some of the renewable energies. Natural gas, Australia now is an exporter of liquefied natural gas. US will probably become an exporter of liquefied LNG. At the same time, both nations have internal discussions as to whether exporting of that natural resource is really an optimal strategy, or whether it's better to build up petrochemical industries or other chemical industries that can domestically use those resources and therefore build up further an industrial base and more value-added exports. These aren't resolved. These are all debates right now. Australia has is going through a process of restructuring of the electricity system and regulations, with different parts of the country regulated quite differently than one another. But there's internal significant fears and concerns that the electricity prices have been rising significantly, and people are worried. Will they keep going up more? Is this going to be a problem with the restructured system and the moving to the new, away from the traditional technologies, as to whether you're going to have some significant price increases? In the United States, we've already had some of those significant price increases. We've had what many people call a California electricity crisis. It really was a whole Western states electricity crisis. The 11 Western states and the 2 Western Canadian provinces all face the same problems. But again, we have that commonality in the electricity system. And then when we get to carbon, we both have been very serious emitters of carbon dioxide. Both have been talking about what you should end up doing. There's a fundamental difference, however. Australia is actually doing something as it differentiates it from the US with their, I think it's $23 per ton of carbon tax that's been imposed with let's say more than mild controversy. In the US, we've talked about cap and trade system, we rejected it, and now we're moving towards carbon regulation, mostly through the administrative acts, through the EPA. But whether we'll get there or not is not obvious. So I believe it's very important and useful now that we have a dialogue, because the problems are very similar, have enough commonalities. At this point, I'd like to then turn to the Consul General, Karen Lanyon, who will have a few more words. Thank you.